Hi guys, this is Coach Joe Micela with Performance One Advanced Sports Training. Today we're going to go over our teaching progression for the jerk, okay? Today we have multiple Masters National Champion Jenny Klaus demonstrating for us how we go through some of our progressions. When I teach the jerk to all beginners, it's very important to learn it from behind the neck first. Several reasons for that. One, we don't have to worry if they don't have rack position or they have to maneuver their face or nose. I want them to just develop that understanding and more of a vertical line behind them. So we always start with a standing press from behind the head. She's going to press it straight up. What I'm looking for is if I put my form in the middle of her back, that the bar is going to be even with that line and is not too far in front of that line or excessively behind. I'm also looking for that locked out position so that when I'm looking from the side, does she keep this nice symmetry of the bar being over her elbows, over her shoulders, over her spine, all the way down through her ankles. She puts the bar back on her back. Then the next most important thing, so we may do 2, 3, a couple more sets of that, just to get that understanding. We're also looking too to see, does this athlete now overarch their back in that position? They can't maintain a particular lockout, or can they be nice and smooth? If they can't do all those things, then we may have some other exercises to address that issue. Okay, but at least gives us the understanding, you know. Again, I teach receiving positions first, or their final positions first, to understand, all right, what is the end goal? What does it look like? And if they can't maintain that position, then we may have to do some other exercise to get them in there. From there, the next most important exercise we teach is the push press. Okay, the push press is going to be loading of her legs into a 4-inch dip downward. Okay, she's going to load her legs and she's going to drive the bar up. So it's using the legs to drive and the shoulders to press, finishing through. She's going to take a dip, she's going to dip down, drive. We're going to extend up to the toes. We're not staying on the toes. She's going to stay on her toes so the bar gets to about the crown of her head, right above her ears, and then she's going to come down. We're going to do it again. She dips and drives up. Good. And we're looking too, does she drop her chest when she dips? Okay. Does she roll her hips? Okay. No. We want to make sure that her weight when she dips is over the center of her foot, over the arch of her foot. So her hips will drop, she'll load, and then she'll go up. So Jenny, do it again, but do it a little bit slower. She dips down, she loads, she drives in vertical, and she holds and she presses through. She unlocks and brings the bar back down to her body, using her legs as kind of shock absorbers to do that. Again, what is this teaching us? The jerk is going to be initiated with that downward loading of the quads and the legs and driving vertical. Okay, so it's not only this, but it's from a position standpoint and a postural standpoint. Does this move? In some of our earlier videos, we talk about how I am not a big fan of horizontal displacement of your body going back and forth, especially in the jerk. Okay, so if we put her into a little box and we kept my arms in about like a 6 to 8 inch window, do it again, dip and drive. We don't want her to move from that position. She brings back down. Nice control. She wants to keep that bar path here. Anything outside of that now is taking away from that vertical thrust that we are so important to have. That's going to lead not only to this movement by itself, but using this understanding of dipping and driving, that's going to now go into the jerk. Anytime you hear jerk in the name, whether it's a push jerk, squat, split jerk, or just jerk, refers to once the athlete reaches that point of the crown of their head, they're going to have a level change of going down under the bar. We teach the push jerk into 3 different receiving positions, a quarter catch, a half, and a full. And we'll go over that in a second why. But Jenny now, she's going to dip again back to that 4-inch depth. She's going to drive to her ears. Once she gets to the ears, she's going to punch and level change into a quarter catch. Dip, go. Holds and recovers up slow and controlled, brings it back down. She can do the same thing into a half. Dip, go. And then recover up, and then she's going to go into a full. Dip, drive, and up. Okay, you can put the bar down just for a second, Jenny. Why do we go over those 3 levels? Okay, now there's a lot of reasons why we do it. One, the key to the push jerk is now teaching that athlete, once we drove vertically, now to level change back vertically. In this position of the quarter, all of your athletes should be able to do it. It's going to test their timing of that vertical descent, but it's also going to help strengthen that musculature of that upper back and through the shoulders, which is key so when we go into the split, or if we stay in this as our primary mover. Okay, she recovers up. The half now starts separating, you know, the men and the women from the boys and the girls, okay? It gets a little more challenging. So that if she has to do it again into her half, this is going to require more flexibility, control, and timing. Not only in her legs and her hips, but in through that upper and mid back, okay? Recover up. And then obviously for that full is even the most. I want to teach that to an athlete, even though I may not make them a full squat jerker or even a push jerker to a quarter or half. But I want them to develop that understanding of timing. And that even though if we do wind up doing a split, that we're not driving forward, okay? That our body drives up, our body goes down, okay? Again, with minimizing to zero horizontal displacement of their upper body. They're understanding up, they're understanding down, okay? That understanding down is huge. And in the meantime, they're getting really strong, okay? Through their upper back and mid back. That's going to carry over into the split down the road or continue with that form, with the split or the push jerk. From there, we're going to go over what we call a jerk no dip, okay? Back in the day, they'd be like, if you're right-handed, you're most likely going to be right foot in front. If you're left-handed, you're most likely to be left foot in front. Then we found that that was not quite the case, okay? And sometimes coaches would come up to you and push you in the back and be like, oh, my goodness, what happened? Oh, you were naturally a right foot forward, okay? Well, maybe that's the case. You just naturally did that as a dominant feature. Another one would be like, Jenny, we're going to race to that wall. On your marks, get set, go. Well, she put her left leg in front. Did I tell her to? No, she felt that that was her dominant leg to push off of, that she would use that as her drive leg, okay? So we would, at first, with beginners, we would have them practice both. And we would ask them, too, what this feels better and feels more comfortable. And then, from a coaching standpoint, what looks better, okay? And then we would stick to it. Okay? Just like you're shooting a basketball or you're a pitcher in baseball, you're going to have a dominant side. In weightlifting, with our split jerk technique, you're going to have a dominant side. And once you have that, for the most part, you're going to stay with it for the majority of your career. Okay? There are times you may kind of go back and forth, but we want to stick with it for the majority of the time. In the jerk, we always want to have the athlete understand that they're standing like on a trap door. And that trap door is going to open and they're going to fall straight through the trap door, okay? And to prevent themselves from going through that trap door is that they have to put one foot in front of the trap door and one foot behind the trap door. So we're always keeping that in mind. So without a barbell, we've determined that Jenny is a lefty. So when we decide, when I say drop, she's going to just land in her split position, okay? And then we're going to talk you through that. I'm going to say drop. And she's going to drop into the position. We'll try that one more time. Drop. Not bad. Easy. Let's try that one more time. Drop. Nice. Can you stay there for a sec? What we're looking for is that lead leg is perpendicular to the ground. Her back leg is bent. She's on the ball of her foot, and her hips are square, okay? Her chest is upright, and her weight distribution is right over her hips. Okay, this is key to this movement. Straighten your back leg a little bit. So what we don't want is that back leg to be straight. You notice as soon as she did that, she started going forward, okay? And that's not good. We want an equal distribution of weight between both her legs. Is my philosophy, okay? And the philosophy of a lot of really good coaches. We don't want that back leg to be straight or, God forbid, the heel to be down. Put your heel on the ground. Heel to be down on the ground. When your heel's on the ground, your back leg is straight, you can't go down anymore. What's going to absorb that force is going to be your hip, this knee, and your back. Your leg is bent, now I have a natural shock absorber, and the weight's going to be distributed evenly between our legs. But when it's on the ground, it doesn't. So now these joint areas are going to take on that stress. Not good, okay, in terms of long-term repetition. And you're more likely to shot put this bar out away from you. Recover up. So again, we're looking at this. So there's a little line on the ground. We're going to have Jenny put her middle of her feet, scoot up a little bit, right there. Good. Over that line. So when we do this drill again, where she's just dropping, I want her to imagine that she's getting pushed downward into that hole, and she's got to prevent that. She's just landing down. So I'm looking from the side. I'm saying, where does her hips line up with this? Is she pushing herself behind it, or she's stepping out? We want to make sure that both feet land simultaneously, not dunt. We go, hey, did I hear a dunt when you landed, or did I hear a thud? A thud every time. She recovers out. We want to make sure it's the same sound, okay? Good. We're going to do it one more time. Again, she's not thinking up, she's thinking down. In a previous video, we talked about, hey, we're either driving through the ground or we're stabilizing. Same drill here. She's not taking this step and leaping in the air. She is just now on a thin bit of air, shuffling down. Why? It's the fastest to get to that stability point versus her flying in the air and then landing and then coming down and having to brace that versus stabilize. So she's going to do it one more time. She drops down. Good. Now, the next most important thing once we get here is how do we get out of here? Okay? A key. 99.9% of the time, when you have the ability of balance and control, lead leg is going to push back and up. We want to keep her in this same plane. So we don't want to just go straight back. We don't want to go forward into it. Now, there's times for exceptions for that, but we're going to get to in a second. What she wants to do is she's going to push up and slide. Lead leg, push up and slide back, and then trail leg comes in. So if she's doing this movement effectively, she doesn't move her hips over that center line or that hole of where that trap door was. She stays here. Why? Because she's going to hold something over her head. And we want to minimize horizontal displacement, as we talked about earlier, of now building momentum and then having to control that momentum of the bar. So she's going to do it again. She's going to just drop down. Okay? She put her hands over her head. So when she recovers, up, slide, slide. She's in this same plane. We're going to do it again. Pretend you have a barbell in your hand. When she recovers up, she recovers, boom, boom. She's staying in this little window of, like I said, a 3 to 4 inch window. She's going to pick the barbell up and she's going to put it on her back. Once they've kind of showed us that footwork, they can do that. Now we're going to put the bar on her back. She's going to do the exact same drill, but she's going to leave the bar on her back. Why? Because I want her to feel a little tension in her arms and her upper body, but she's just going to work on her footwork. She's going to just drop down, leaving the bar on her back. Ready? Drop. Because you're supposed to leave the bar on your back. Stand up, recover again. This will be an outtake for the blooper. So what Jenny's going to do now, we have the bar on her back. She's going to drop into the same position. Performing that drill, again, she's dropping down into that split position, leaving the bar on her back. So I just want her to feel the tension on her back. This is the next progression of that drill. She's going to drop. We're now, as a coach, I'm looking. Does she keep her chest up? Did her feet land simultaneously? Now we're going to recover. Left, right. We'll do it one more time. Drop. Left, right. Now we're going to add the footwork. Okay? And we're going to add the arms. So now as she drops into that split position, she's simultaneously going to punch the bar up. She's not driving up as much as she's pushing the bar away from her down into the split position. She's going to stay there. Ready? Drop. Holding and making sure everything aligned. Yes, she's going to recover out. Lead leg, trail leg. Okay? Down. We're going to do it one more time. Ready? Drop. Recover. Lead, trail. Good. And down. Now, because we did the push presses earlier, she had the experience with push presses and push jerks, she understands dip and drive. Dip and drive. So now once she understands that dip and drive, we add now this component. So once the bar gets to her crown of her head, an alarm's going to go off and says drop and punch underneath the bar. So now she's going to put it all together in her jerk. Ready? Dip, drive, punch. Recovers up. Good. A little more patient on the dip. Ready? Dip, drive, punch. Recovers up. Good. Nice. Put it down in front of you. Good. By breaking it up into these little segments and pieces, we're teaching the athlete those little critical components. We're developing the dip and drive earlier with that push press. We're getting the dip, drive, and upper back strength and understanding of a vertical descent with the push jerk series. With the jerk no dip, we're working on footwork. We're refining footwork, okay? And then we're putting it all together into the total package, okay? And each one of those phases of this progression can be standalones. The push press is probably, push press and the push jerk series, the only ones you can add a significant amount of weight to. The jerk no dip or just putting the bar on your back, you don't have to. As we talked about in our progression of teaching skills, there's drills that teach you and also can be strength. And there's drills that are just drills that don't need a lot of weight. The jerk no dip is definitely one of those things. You don't need a lot of weight to do it, to get it, okay? It's not something that you're trying to build mass or you're trying to build hypertrophy or you're trying to build a major component of strength with. It's a skill. It's a speed component. So keep it very, very light. That's how we put it all together to teach someone over a series of weeks and could be over a series of months how to do the split jerk. Guys, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment. Please share it with your friends and like our channel.